You chose this. And yes, I mean it. And before you click off or get defensive, let me be clear. I'm not attacking you here. I'm calling a spade a spade. If you feel stuck, unmotivated, or like you're capable of more but not taking action, you're not broken and you're not lazy. What I've learned both in my personal life and through studying psychology over the past decade is that most people aren't confused or undisciplined. They're protecting something or running away from something. In this video, I'm going to break down why behaviors like procrastination, overthinking, burnout, or even laziness are often strategies, not flaws, and what they're actually protecting you from. I'm also going to share how this showed up in my own life and even still does to this day, how insecurity, over intellectualizing, or the fear of failure disguised themselves as thinking instead of action, and what exactly actually helped me break that pattern. If you've ever felt like you have a good grasp on things and you understand everything, but you still can't move forward, stay with me. This will probably explain more than you'd expect. So now let me go in and share a little bit more about my life experience. So throughout my even middle school, high school, college experience, I kind of had difficulty forming friendships. I grew up in the same friendship group my entire life. And as people began to mature or immature, I felt more and more overlooked or not fully seen, not fully accepted, began to be excluded from my friendship group due to not wanting to drink or smoke or party or have very contrarian values to the people around me. And through that exclusion, that also led to me not really being able to cultivate deep connections with personal friends, but also women or girls at the time, feeling confident that I can be myself because no one else was really accepting me. How could they? And that led to a bit of a quiet inferiority around social confidence, belonging. And at the time, I was very rocked by this. I told myself it was a bit of a level of trauma or insecurity or something that I needed to heal before I moved forward, or even to have closure on, to understand why this was happening. And that spilled over all the way through college and even into parts of my adult life. But looking back, that storyline kept me stuck. It gave me a reason not to act. I began to become so fearful of the potential judgment from someone or the potential fear of rejection that I found ways to convince myself that taking action to work through that wasn't worth it. And I used that insecurity as a shield from having to face that potential discomfort. And in a lot of ways, I still do it today, whether it's a little bit of hesitation on if I should make this video or what I should put out into the world and let people know about me, because what if they don't like me? What if I'm not accepted? And so what a lot of people would pinpoint as being trauma really ended up being protection for me. Protection from rejection, protection from failure, protection from being exposed, and something that I used to make myself feel okay with the stagnation that I was allowing to happen. And by the way, in a big way, what this channel is about, it's about breaking down behavior and performance. This is all basically about understanding your internal operating systems. And if you feel like you can relate to my experience even this far, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope a lot of my other content will continue to be valuable to you. So now I'm in a place in my life where I felt insecure about who I am, maybe a little bit of inferiority around the fact that girls weren't as interested in me. I even had some insecurities about my body, and being 6'6", I felt like I was always highlighted and exposed, but not necessarily always in the best way. It's like, oh, look at this really tall guy. Oh, look how awkward he is. He sticks out like a sore thumb. That's the way that I felt. And so I would try to melt my way into a corner. Now, where did that lead me? Well, with that feeling of being less than, I spent a lot of time in my own head, very introspective, always analyzing every single thing around me, and became a self-identified overthinker. I knew that I was intelligent, or at least intellectual, maybe not the most book smart or in any AP classes, but I understood things. And I lived so much in my own head and continue to convince myself of this intellectual superiority that I spent all my time thinking about the best way to do something, the best way to maybe approach someone or have a conversation, and what if they say this, then I'll say this, then they'll say this, and I'll say this, but what if they say this, then I could do this, this, or this. And all of that overanalyzing, well, where did that lead me? Moving nowhere. Stuck in my own head, rationalizing all the ways why I was actually not inferior and actually really, really smart, because I could think about all these different aspects of things. And I used that analysis as a substitute for action, finding ways to subtly feel superior as I watched everyone around me take imperfect action. I was really good at pinpointing, well, they did this wrong and this wrong and this wrong and this wrong, and I could do it better by doing this, 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 or this. But all I did was constantly evaluate the better path rather than moving down a path. I used my intelligence as a shield. I stayed in my head, because if I just stayed in my head and could feel good about being so right about everything that I was evaluating, then I would never have to risk actually taking action and potentially being wrong. And the truth is that superiority wasn't confidence, it was compensation. And so looking back, I can finally understand I wasn't lazy, I was just protecting my self-image, which led to inaction. So if you've ever used overthinking or intelligence as a reason not to act, I want you to comment IQ down below. I want to see who else has been in the same boat as me. So as a student of psychology, now I want to introduce to you the hidden godfather of modern day psychology that a lot of people overlook. You might have heard of Sigmund Freud. You might have heard of Friedrich Nietzsche, but have you heard of Alfred Adler? Adler's framework of psychology is known as Adlerian psychology, or maybe you've heard of individual psychology. I want you to understand this so you can understand yourself. Individual psychology dictates that humans are not driven by past trauma. They're driven by purpose, and even avoidance of something serves as a goal to something else. So for me, if my purpose was to constantly feel intelligent and not want to face rejection or judgment or anything else like that, well, then my actions would serve that purpose. Or should I say, my lack of action would serve that purpose. I will stay in my head. I will continue to find reasons why I'm right about why someone else is wrong, to make myself feel just a little bit more superior so that I can stay where I'm at and not risk making a leap or taking an action that might expose me as being wrong or lead to someone being rubbed the wrong way by me and not being accepted. It has nothing to do with me embodying some sense of trauma from my past. And this is part of the pitfall of traditional therapy, is that some people can get too caught up in reflecting on the past and trauma dumping and trying to really create this narrative for themselves as to why they're stuck in the position that they are. And they forget to actually look at the present or even the future to understand what construct am I reinforcing through the actions that I take? What purpose do I have that my current actions are reinforcing? And you need to reevaluate if that purpose serves the idealized version of yourself or if it's serving a version of yourself that keeps you safe and unencumbered. Your behavior isn't random. It's loyalty. Loyalty to a version of yourself that you're holding on to, that maybe you need to let go of. So the question isn't, what is wrong with me? The question is, what does this behavior help me avoid? Because whatever it is that you're avoiding, that is exactly what you need to be tackling head on to progress towards your potential. And so some examples of what that might be in your life. Well, am I a procrastinator? Well, that means that you're avoiding failure or imperfection. Am I feeling burnt out? Well, maybe you're avoiding misalignment. Maybe you're taking actions down a path that really isn't meant for you. Maybe it's coming from comparison to someone else, and you feel like you're burnt out because you're not getting to where someone else is. Well, they're on a different path than you. Am I an overthinker or always stuck in analysis paralysis? Well, that means you're avoiding commitment. That means you're looking for all the reasons why your decision should be delayed and why you need to think a little bit harder and harder or seek out more information to feel certain, to feel committed to whatever it is, the decision that you're going to make. Do you maybe identify as feeling laziness sometimes? Or being a lazy person? First off, eliminate that identifier. Second, what you're avoiding is the threat to your ego being diluted. Because if you were to take action and maybe not achieve the same result as you would hope to achieve, well, what does that say about who you are or how good you are at something? So you'd rather drag it out and be lazy rather than face the fact that you might not be as good at something as you would have hoped, or maybe it's not the thing that you should be doing. That comes back to alignment. So at this point, you're probably feeling, holy shit, that is literally my life. If that's the case, then how is anyone out there taking action? How is anyone doing these things or not feeling the way that I'm feeling? Well, people who act decisively aren't smarter than you. They aren't braver. They aren't more disciplined. They simply have a purpose towards something greater than themselves. And that purpose dissolves all hesitation. Because when your purpose is to protect a part of yourself or reinforce some level of superiority, or you comparing yourself to someone else, then you're always going to be stuck inside of yourself. But when you draw that purpose out and put it out in front of you and know exactly why you're attacking something, why you're progressing towards something, and why you're meant to be doing that, it's no longer about you. That removes the internal negotiation of the actions that you take and makes it about the outcome that you're pursuing and the process, more importantly, that is required to achieve that outcome. And through aligning that process, well, action becomes quite obvious. You're no longer protecting yourself to reinforce this internal dialogue. You're taking action to achieve the process that you've set forth that you know confidently will help you get to the place in life that you want or become the version of yourself that you know you're capable of being. This is why even a lot of really successful sales professionals or entrepreneurs move so fast, because they're not protecting their identity. Maybe all they care about is this product or service that they want to put out in the world to make money, and whatever it is that it is, they're executing a direction that has nothing to do with who they are, because maybe they don't even have the intellectual capacity to second guess who they are, to compare themselves to other people and analyze all the things that people are doing wrong and why their way is better. And so therefore they just act based on what they know to do in the moment, and they don't think any further than that. So where do you go from here? Well, the first step is to figure out what is it that you want to take action on and stop moralizing your behavior as if it means something. No one else cares about what you do as much as you do. The spotlight effect rings true all the time. So whereas you're trying to take a maybe moral superiority or some level of justification as to why you shouldn't take a certain action, you're just devaluing yourself. You're shaming yourself. So stop doing it. Set the goal, set the action plan, and take the action. And through that, you can start decoding the behavior that reinforces your goals, your alignment, your vision, your values, your roles in your life. Once I stopped asking what is wrong with me and started asking what I was protecting, what I was avoiding, everything changed. So you need to let go of the narrative that you're holding on to. You're not broken, but you are responsible for taking action and embodying the version of yourself you're meant to be. Otherwise, you're depriving yourself and the people around you of your potential and your capability to help them and yourself. And rewiring this internal operating system, the way that you act on a day-to-day basis, that's exactly what I work with clients to help them do. Helping them understand that iOS, that internal system, so that behavior stops working against them and starts working for them. So if this video really resonated with you and you can relate to my experience as well, and you want help applying this to your life, to your business, to your relationships, that's what the Clarity Code is built for. I hope that you consider checking that out. And again, if this really helped you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Keep following along. I have a lot more coming on clarity, performance, identity, and taking action towards your potential. So I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.